This practice is to bring awareness to your center and also all of the beautiful natural curves of the spine. So to begin, we're just going to take 4 rounds of breath. You don't want to push the breath where you're actually creating tension in the body. The purpose is to find the movement actually of the spine. So when you inhale, there's a sense of, elongation, and as you exhale, a sense of settling. So just taking a breath through the nose and seeing if you can follow how the spine lengthens. And then as you exhale, just settling and returning down. So let's do that again. Inhale. It's like the head and the tail, they move away from each other. It's lengthening. And then exhale, settling. And 2 more. Inhale, lengthening. Sense the body expanding. And then exhale, just returning in and down. And 1 more time. Just a sense of lengthening, expanding out. And then as you exhale, just returning in and down. It's also a nice little reset if you're, got some tension in the body, helps to kind of unwind it. Now, I have a little Pilates ball and I have a yoga block. You can use you could use a rolled up towel for both of them, or a book, or just anything that you're going to be able to push into that you feel some resistance. So if you don't have these exact props, it's perfectly fine. Roll up a towel, put it in between the knees, and like I said, you can roll up another towel, or you can find a book, or if you have something else in your house that's a little firm and you can push into it, that's about the size of a yoga block. So now, just gonna pause here, and you're not squeezing anything yet. Let's take a little scan. I want you to notice that the back of the head is resting into your, blanket, or if you have a little pillow under your head. So that's curving towards the ground. And then if you notice your neck, it's not, it's curving away from the ground. Then you move into this whole area, this chest area, this part of the back. It's called your thoracic spine. And that actually curves into the ground. Then we move down and we have our lower back, our lumbar, that curves away. Then we go to the hips, the back of the hips, and that part of the spine that slides through your hip bones, that curves towards the ground, if you can feel that weight. And then we have a lovely long tail. So we have a curve that goes into the ground, a curve that goes out of the ground, a curve that goes back into the ground, a curve that goes out of the ground, and a curve that goes in, and then a lovely just reaching tail. So just take a minute, see if you can do that a few times, just kind of in your mind's eye. It's like you're taking your little inner video camera and you are tracing, like goes in, goes out. You can also feel the weight of the curves that move towards the ground. Now what you can also notice is, what do my curves feel like? Do I have some curves that go down towards the ground when maybe I want them to float away, or vice versa? There's nothing wrong with that. Our postures are not pathological. They're just expressions of how our body is managing itself, okay? So you can just notice all those curves. Down to the ground with the head, away with the neck, into the ground through that thoracic spine, away from the ground with the lower back, into the ground with the pelvis, and a reaching tail. Now when we go into this next practice, we're gonna keep all of those curves. Not because we're like holding and contracting, but just simply allowing the energy to flow and to keep this whole center part of the body quiet. So, going to squeeze the ball and squeeze the block, and that takes the energy in. So we're moving that energy from right side, left side, and it's meeting in the middle. It's like putting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich together. And then you're going to release and just follow that energy as you move out. Now, as we give a little progressive squeeze inwards, check in with those curves of the spine. Did the low back want to push into the mat, or did something want to pull away? See if you can keep those curves just nice and quiet. And then releasing. Now we'll just add breath to this. So we can do a nice exhale as you squeeze in. Inhaling to return. And again, exhale to squeeze in. Bringing your awareness to your center, your midline, and then inhale to return. Now, we can keep a little squeeze on the ball just to activate the inner thighs, and you're drawing up the pelvic floor, but you're going to be careful that that lower back doesn't smash into the mat or it doesn't pull away. And then nice long fingers here on whatever you're using. And you're going to send those arms up. And then slowly returning. Now, as your arms go up, take your awareness to your back. Can that upper part of your back relax into your floor, your bed? If you have a Cadillac in your house, you're doing all right. So we're probably doing this in our bed or on the floor. So you should just take your back, let it relax into the bed or the floor, and return. So it's not getting pulled away from the ground as your arms go up. It's actually resting. It's like lovely little roots for your arms to grow out of. And let's do that one more time. Sending the arms up, just noticing how the back moves in to the ground. Now this last one, we're going to keep the arms up. We're going to slowly take them overhead. Notice the curves of the back. Can they stay quiet? Is anything getting pulled away? Can you keep it nice and grounded and rooted and bring the arms back up? And let's do 3 more of these. So we're really finding some nice weight in the back body, but our spine just gets to flow and float in the middle. If anything doesn't feel good on your shoulders doing this, you just keep it smaller. You don't have to take the arms all the way overhead. And let's do 1 more. So as the arms reach into space, the rest of the body is this beautiful, living anchor. And return, and we'll bring the arms down. Now we're going to take these props away. You can just put them to the side, and you want to get them out of the way. Actually, we're going to move them all the way down or just off to the side, because now we're going to do some knee openers. So I want you to put your hands right on your hip bones, and taking your right knee out to the side. Notice how the right hip bone actually rotates with the leg, but your left hip bone is staying, pointing up to the ceiling in the same position as the left leg. And let's do that 3 more times. So we have right pelvic half going with the right leg, left pelvic half staying with the left leg. So we have pelvic halves. Now what's in the middle of the halves? The spine. The tail. So as you take your right leg out, take your awareness to your tail. If your tail's swinging with your right leg, can you keep it organized to the center? So our tail is actually a limb. It can direct energy and it can help organize us. And then we're going to do 4 of these on the other side. So this is an organizing practice. Now we can also be in relationship with gravity and space. So as the left leg goes out, how does it find its lightness? It's because the right side really can root down, it can weight down. So another great place to check in with is the feet. Finding tripod feet, big toe mound, little toe mound, and heel. Notice on the right side, can you keep big toe mound, little toe mound, and heel equally anchored? I don't know if that was 3 or 4, so we're going to do one more, because one more will never kill us, right? And then returning. Fabulous. Okay, now we're going to move into a little, I like to call this a hip opener exercise. So we're going to fold the right hip in and then put that leg back down. So we're bringing the thigh bone comes in, you can feel that nice crease in the hip, and then return. Now let's bring the thigh up, and you could hold underneath the leg. And remember how we have this pelvic half that we were opening? Now we can actually rock it. So what if your pelvic half rocked up with your thigh and then return? Now, notice what's happening on the other side. Your left foot might want to push down a little bit, and now you've got this rotating pelvis. And that's what we want. Now, what if your tail got involved? What if you rolled a little up with the tail? And then return. So we can have the thigh come in. We can have the pelvic half roll, which is going to press that lower back into the mat. I should have said that. Now we're allowing the curves to move. And then you can add the tail. And if you just keep going, you know, your tail would be like, let's roll over. And return. And how about just a few extend and bends, just to open up the back of the leg. This isn't a big hold it and hamstring stretch. This is just a little extend, let things open and expand, and then return. And then we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to just fold, left thigh in, and release. And a little folding. And release. So all of the curves of the spine here, they're really staying quiet. Fold. Now the next time we can fold the thigh in, you can hold underneath, and now you can let your pelvic half roll up. Your little sits bone under there, it can do a little curving up. And then you could add your tail. So we got thigh, pelvic half, that's going to make the back move, and tail definitely going to make the back move. You might even roll up a little bit. And one more time. So when we draw the thigh in, the spine stays quiet. But then the pelvic half, when we add that, and we get that tail moving, then we got some real movement through the spine. And then just a few to extend and bend, just opening up back of the leg, and return. We're going to finish this series with some bridging. So arms can come down by your side, and you press your tripod feet in, and here's this little curve, and then let's tilt the other way. We can take the tail the other way. Curve. Can you notice how your whole back is moving? It's because we want the energy. Even though we're initiating it from the tail, we want it to move through the spine. So it's perfectly fine if you are doing a little rocking and rolling on your bed or your floor. Now the next time that tail is going to curl up, getting my arms out of the way, so you can see, and you're going to press and then peel your spine off the mat. And how high you go is your business. You could come all the way up, and those feet are going to press, 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 press. And then softening and rolling through. But you don't have to come that high. You can just hover. It's less about I'm making a shape and calling it bridge, and more about what's the experience of my pushing and sending that energy and support up the legs so that I can reach with my tail. And then as you're coming down, just let the back soften, widen, like a little sandbag. Now I'm gonna do 2 more of these, but you might be having fun just exploring on your own, not going as high, up and down, pausing. So really making this your own. Keeping an eye on your lovely tripod feet, big toe mound, little toe mound, and heel. Here's the last one. So we have these nice, slower practices that really help us to reconnect with ourselves and deepen our sensory awareness of our body so we can let go of habits and really create some new healthy patterns. Just take a rest there. Just take a few breaths. Beautiful. Bigger is not always better. Okay, more is not always better. These practices that slow us down have a lot of value. We don't have to stay slow the whole time, but having some of these in your practice, super valuable, because you will actually become more consciously embodied. And then when you are moving, doing things where maybe you're not thinking as much or feeling as much, you have a body that's more integrated and more coordinated. So, hope you had fun.